joins us live now from Parliament to get the latest on this saga. Annike, a very good morning to you. And what do we know about this correspondence that Gordhan's office says he's received, and then the Hawks saying that they know nothing about it?
That's right. Certainly phone calls last night, desperate phone calls to the Hawks last night from my side went unanswered, but I did have with me the warning statement letter, the covering letter, and a list of 32 questions which were delivered to all former SARS members. One member, Scully van Rensburg, was actually interviewed yesterday in Worcester, and he was issued with one of these letters. All the letters, I'm not sure if they all have the same questions, but certainly by warning, according to people who are very adverse with criminal procedures, say that a warning statement really is a precursor to an arrest. It's a warrant of arrest, and if Pravin Gordhan and the three others, excluding Adrian Lakay, if they do not appear in Pretoria tomorrow, a warrant will be issued for their arrest. Now, a warning statement looks a little bit like this. It's a letter from the Hawks. It's something that the Hawks generally do, not normal SAPS cases. They ask you to please come in, and they ask you to write a statement about whether you are aware of the charges that are about to be brought against you. For instance, Uveke, if you've been accused of shoplifting, you could make a statement to the Hawks saying, there's no ways I could have been shoplifting at such and such a shop on this day because I was in London on that specific day. So you can do that, or you can remain silent. Now, every criminal attorney that I've spoken to say it's absolutely their advice that you remain silent, you pitch up when you're told to, but you do not give a statement of any kind. And in fact, 2005, Jackie Selebi issued a decree that SAPS and Hawks were meant to investigate to arrest and not arrest to investigate, and that looks like what's happened here in my view. This letter here says that the investigation is complete, which means that the Hawks have done as much investigating as they can at this stage in conjunction with the NPA. The NPA, according to Glynis Breitenbach, who I've just seen walking past, said they will have been kept in the loop. Sean Abrams will have been kept in the loop due to the nature of the case from very early on. But we'd like you to answer 32 questions. And some of these questions are very detailed, and something that really jumped out at me is one of the questions is, how long have you known Advocate Gerry Nel and Andrew Leask of the NPA? Now, we all know Gerry Nel, but I remember Andrew Leask from the corruption trial of Jacob Zuma in 2005. He was one of the lead investigators for the Scorpions at that time. You are required to provide details on the nature of your relationship with them. And the questions end, you are at liberty to provide us, the investigating team, with information which you believe that we should be aware of and take into consideration as they conduct their investigation. So how much information do the Hawks actually have in their investigation? If they're asking for this whole second list of questions to be answered, we'll have to wait and see until we see that indictment.
Of course, Annike, I mean, this entire saga raising the questions of why now, the timing of this development taking place now. It's after local government elections. We know that there's a political upset within the ANC as well. What do we know about, could there be, like we heard an analyst saying earlier, the conspiratorial idea of all of this? What do we know about what's being bandied about, the thinking around the timing of this, and Pravin Gordhan being asked to come to report to the Hawks tomorrow and face possible arrest from what you're saying?
Well, certainly the first set of questions given to the Finance Minister were shortly before he delivered his budget speech earlier this year. That was certainly, in the cynic's view, an attempt to destroy confidence in the Finance Minister, and for questions to be put out with regards to his integrity. This timing, the cynics would say, is very much in line with local government elections. The Rand rallied after the local government elections, and had it been these questions and this essentially a warrant issued before the government elections, what would it have done to the ruling National Party, the ANC? What would it have eroded confidence in the party? Well, I think it probably would have if the Rand had reacted the same way it did last night by tumbling 4%. So the cynic's view certainly would be that the timing has been very careful and considerate. The markets didn't like it. It shows that things are mercurial, they're volatile here politically, and I would say that the timing was very carefully done, and certainly speaking to people within SARS and Treasury, they believe that this was well timed. But do remember that when I interviewed the National Police Commissioner, Commissioner Patlane, shortly after Pravin Gordhan earlier this year was issued with questions, he said when the rating agencies were here, there was no investigation into Pravin Gordhan. They said they just wanted him as the man who'd been in charge at the time to provide them with some answers. So was he telling the truth? Do they decide to re-uptake their investigation? We'll have to ask him and see what he says.
Right, well, the next few days will be very telling. Thanks very much, reporter Annike Larsen, live to us from outside Parliament.